That's just right on time. That's managing time. Brother Gipp is up next. This is the question while he's getting wired up. After observing churches for 43 years, Brother Gipp has been a pastor and an evangelist, so after observing churches for 43 years, what are the greatest struggles, hurdles, battles that local Bible-believing churches are now facing from within the church? Our next question is, what are the greatest struggles from without the church? But that's not this one. What are the greatest struggles that our kind of churches are facing within the church? That be the question.
Okay, what your preacher said, I'm glad he mentioned the next question about outside the church. Here's what I want you to imagine. We're in a cave. The enemy's outside, and your pastor is got a rifle, and he is trying to keep the enemy back. That's outside. And every now and then, an enemy will stick his head up behind a rock. You see your pastor bring up the rifle, boom, and he drives him back. You go, he's doing the job. And we love that kind of stuff, right? Then he turns around and starts lobbing a few rounds off of the roof of the cave, and the ricochets are about, hey man, you're going to hit us. Well, that's because that's within the church. We don't ever like that. Okay, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about, because when I say something about outside the church, I'm talking about everybody outside this building. Correct? But when we say inside the church, I am not talking about everybody inside other independent Baptist churches. I'm talking about you. And so some of these should make you feel a little uncomfortable because it's inside the church. And I hate to say it, guys, but it has changed in 40-some years, okay? And I've said this when I was preaching. You've heard this statement. Many preachers preach it. They'll say, that here's the world and here's the church, and church is 25 years behind the world, and everything the world's doing now, the church is doing 25 years later. That used to be true. That is no longer true. Here's the world, here's the dog. The world is the dog, and the church is the tail, and the tail is just always 25 years behind the dog. We aren't the tail anymore. We're the collar. Here's the world, here's the church. We are not 25 years. I'm telling you the truth, we are not 25 years behind the world. We are 25 minutes. And upset. We are upset that we get to the world's party 25 minutes after it started. And when I say that, I am not talking about people in the United States. And I am not talking about other Canadians. And I am not talking about people in other states or other countries. I'm talking about you. It used to be the attitude 40 years ago in God's churches was, I just want to live for God. I just want to live for God. Show me what I can do. I just want to live for God. Now it's, I just want to live. That's it. In my country, I say it this way. Everybody wants to go to a party. Everybody wants to be at a party. You guys, preacher, you're talking about those guys, going to these booze parties, getting drunk and, gone with strange women. No. That's what the world wants. You guys don't want that party. I doubt there's very many that would want to go to that party. You don't want to destroy your life. You know what you want? You want what we call in the States a tailgate. You don't mind drinking root beer and Diet Coke. You don't mind grilling burgers. You just want to sit in somebody's backyard with another Christian and just talk about the Lord and enjoy the grass. And when a preacher comes by to that backyard and that party and says, hey guys, we need to knock on some doors, you're going to go, oh man, that's messing up my party. I don't mess up my party. It used to be this, the problems in the world and the problems in the church were different problems. I'm telling you guys, they are identical today. It is a two-sided coin, but the world, the description of the world, the attitude of the world, and the attitude of us, is identical. Here's what the world says. You invite some lost guy. You say, hey, come to church Sunday. And he'll say, what? Come to church? Man, that's my only day to rest, man. I can just serve God. I'm just as close to God when I'm fishing and hunting. But I'm not going to get in with a bunch of hypocrites. I'm not, the only day I got, I'm not going to church. But you know what the other side of his coin is? But if my kids get sick, God better get down here and take care of it. You know where you are? It is not fair for a preacher to think that I should have to give up anything in the world for the Lord. It is not fair. I should not have to sacrifice anything for God. But if my kids are sick, God better come down here and take care of it. Doesn't he know I believe the King James Bible? I'm not like them. I'm not living immoral. I'm one of his Bible believers. He ought to take care of my kids and my problems. Guys, we have the same thing. And I'm going to tell you what your biggest problem is. And I will put it right in the lap of the United States, because we have corrupted the world with television. The United States is a cesspool when it comes to television. You know, if you want to know what the influence of American TV has done, you know, I preach in New Guinea, and in New Guinea, the natives, you know, in our country, Terrence, the Navajos and all the American Indians are the natives. And you know the whole history about all the evil white man and everything else. But in New Zealand, the natives are the Maoris. And when the white man came to New Zealand, he never conquered anybody. Every piece of ground the whites got in New Zealand, they bought. They always had cordial relationships. And the Maoris and the whites in New Zealand always had a tremendous arm-in-arm friendly relationship. You know, today the Maoris hate the white people in New Zealand. You say, what made the change? American television came to New Zealand, and when that happened, you know, the standard, listen guys, there will never be racial harmony in the United States because the news media will not allow it. And Hollywood makes all these movies about, you know, the white people are, but I think we've oppressed everybody. Listen, if you have low tire, it's my fault. I was born white, it's my fault. You know, if you, I mean, whatever it is, I did it. Sunspots, oh yeah, it messed up the radio. Yeah, that's my fault. I'm sorry, you know, because I'm white and that did it. But what happened is that when American TV and movies got to New Zealand, all of the Maoris embraced the black characters, and they started looking at the whites as the enemy. American TV corrupted an entire nation. I have looked at some of our television. I don't watch it. It is so bad. It is so vile. It is so horrible. I believe God will have to destroy America, if for no other reason, so it does not corrupt the rest of the world. You can be in that parentheses, the rest of the world, but I'm telling you, God may rescue you from us by destroying our nation. And if you're happy about that, you're an idiot. You're a fool. Not because it's my country. You got to be a fool if you're happy about that. But what's happened is that here's what's happened. Everybody wants to enjoy life. Where I just wanted to live for God, now I just want to live. Everybody wants to enjoy life. You think it is unfair for us to say, you know, anything that might take a little bit of enjoyment from your life. You know, I say it this way. You know, I'm telling you, I go to New Guinea, and like these guys in Fiji, I mean, you go to places, man, I preach in places. There's no running water. There's no electricity. The bats have 2-foot wingspans. They'll carry you off. You lay down at night and listen to the rats on the other side of the wall playing football. And so one time I said the missionary, I said, did I hear rats last night? Score. But I said, did I hear rats last night? And he said, yeah. I said, now you know what you say? I know when I said they got rats, you go, well, won't they get rid of the rats? See how you think? We think Western. I said, you always got rats? He said, oh, we can't get rid of them. He said, we always have rats. He said, for all the years we've been here, we've always had rats, except for 6 months. For 6 months, we did not have rats. Now that tweaks my interest. I'm interested in that 6 months, okay? And were they all on vacation or what? And I said, why didn't you have rats for 6 months? They said, well, we didn't know that either. They said, we just didn't hear them, we didn't see them, had no rats, couldn't understand it. And one day we're going up the steps, and there laying on the steps was a 6-foot boa constrictor. I'll take the rats. I don't want to wake up with a boa constrictor, you know, having some close personal fellowship. Give you a little hug. But guys, think about it. You know, I say it this way, and this is true of the United States, and this is true of Canada. Here's how I equate our Christian life. You know where you live? You know where you set up camp? You know where you set up your abode the day you got saved? The day we got saved, we camped out. We built our house at a bus stop. And every day since then, we have been waiting for the Lord Jesus Christ to pull up in a bus and take us to heaven. We call it the rapture, correct? Now, when you got saved, there were some people there that were excited about the bus coming, and they have now gone on to be with heaven, going to be in heaven, correct? They're not there now. Don't worry when the bus shows up. They're already on. And others have come. But we basically live every day at a bus stop, correct? But guys, what a bus stop. You've got air conditioning. You got Tim Hortons. You got a bunch of our restaurants. We got yours. But but the fact is, guys, I mean, really, if you got to live at a bus stop, wouldn't you like to live at a bus stop in Canada as opposed to New Guinea? You don't want to live at a bus stop in New Guinea. And when I tell people in our people, I said, if you can enjoy. I've never taught this because I don't believe it. You don't have to live up on a mountain in an earth house with no electricity and no water and suffer. I said you can enjoy 90% of what America offers. I say this from coast to coast, the United States, from border to border. It's Disneyland. The entire world views my country as Disneyland. Let's go to America and party. Let's go to America and enjoy it, man. It's just one big national park. It's just one big ride. It's one big Disneyland, and that's what it is. But do you ever go to Disneyland? You don't ride every ride, guys. You're not going to ride every ride. Either you're not going to want to get on all of them, or you just don't have time. Oh, man. And I said, you can enjoy 90% of what the United States offers. You can enjoy 90% of what Canada offers you. But you don't have to sell your soul for the last 10%. And when I say that, now here's how I feel about that. Wow, I get to enjoy air conditioning. I get to enjoy good highways. I get to enjoy sleeping at night without having to worry about somebody breaking in my house and killing me. I get to enjoy a good medical system up until BO got in. There's a lot of stuff I get to enjoy. I just don't have to. Yeah, we have a bad case of BO. My country has a bad case of BO. But what I'm saying, guys, what I'm saying is that I don't have to sell my soul for that last 10%. And when I say that in our churches, instead of people going, wow, man, I get to enjoy 90% of what this country offers. You know what they say? It's not fair for you to tell me I can give up 10%. I want the whole party. And we have all, I said you, we have all, by television, we have all been convinced that our greatest number one goal in life is to enjoy life. We just got to enjoy life. We have to enjoy life. And so you know what you're doing? You are seeking the very same things that a lost world is seeking, looking for the pleasures of life. I'm going to say this. I don't dwell on this a lot, and I don't like this subject, but it has got to be broached, okay? Everybody in our countries has been convinced that the number one pleasure of life is sex. So I see virgin Christian girls being married, and they're opening up their wedding gifts, and it comes from Victoria's Secret or Fredericks of Hollywood, and they think they now have to live like a Playboy pinup. And I'm thinking, what convinced that? I'll tell you what convinced her. TV. You know, in my generation, a young girl, you know what she thought? These young girls, you know what they'd be thinking? Man, when I get married, I hope I can please him with what I do in the kitchen. I hope I can cook a good meal. I hope I can put a good meal on the table. I hope I can please him with how I take care of our home and our house. I hope I can please him with how I handle the money that he gives me to go spend on this and that. And today, girls only have one hope. I hope I can please him in the bedroom. And they throw out every Christian standard they ever had, and they turn the bedroom into a Playboy empire. And you know what they find out? If they are successful, that isn't the most important thing after all. The kitchen was important, honey. It really was. The living room was important. The house being clean. Not having, 3 inches of moon dust on the end tables really does mean something. I mean, we have a new definition of feminine in the United States. That is a 300-pound woman who is 4 feet tall, who has a butterfly tattooed to her ankle. And she thinks as long as she can be as raunchy in a bedroom as she can possibly be, she's going to please a man. And you guys have been convinced of that too. And I'm sorry, you young people. I'm not saying that you are vulgar. I'm not saying that you're all hoping to be immoral. I am telling you this. There are some things the world hands us and says, here, believe this. Here, I want you to believe in evolution. You know what Garrett says? I ain't signing on to that. Graham, I want you to accept abortion as a woman's right. He said, I'm not signing on to that. Hey, I want you to believe that homosexuality is the way people are born. You know what we say? I'm not signing on to that. Every time we have that kind of a choice, we usually don't sign on. But guys, if you fall in water, you're going to get wet. Correct? And I'm not talking about, see, you think, okay, I say no to everything the world puts down in front of me on a piece of paper with a yes or no check. I always check no. And you think you're doing all right. But the problem is that you and I, because of your proximity to the United States, and because of, you're not just close to the United States physically. New Zealand is not close to the United States physically, but it is culturally. It's a Western European culture, just like the United States, just like here. And so our cultures are very close together, even though they are geographically separated. And guys, you're submerged, and that's the word I use. You are submerged in that kind of a culture. So every time you turn on your TV, you are submerged in a culture that tells you enjoying life is the most important thing. You only go around once in life. Get all the gusto that you can. And so we're all interested in pleasure and enjoying life. And I've seen that. I've watched it. There was a day, and I can tell you this, and look, you think this about book sales, can't help it. I've written about 30 books, and you know what I've noticed over the 27 years that we've been on the road? I can set up a book table, and I can have a good week. I can have a good book week and never sell a Bible commentary. 25 years ago, you guys were buying Bible commentaries. You know why? Because you love that book so much, you want to learn something about it. Now it's got to be, how to get through your depression, how to be successful, how to find your mate in life. Man, we are all purpose driven. I got that book. It took me 3 years, 10 times through the Bible to write on single syllable words, a comprehensive study of books of verses composed of single syllable words. I said, if I would have put a rose on the front of that and said a purpose driven study of verses composed of, I said, I'd sell every one of them I got. And what I'm telling you guys, you know what you're interested in? You're interested in all the books that tell you how to enjoy life. How to be successful, and how not to fail, how not to get a broken heart. You don't even care about that book in your hand anymore. You do not want to know it anymore. You do not want to study it anymore. I've seen that. You cannot explain that. You say, oh, you're going to a church where they already bought your commentaries. I go to a church I've never been. I go to a good church where I've never been. I can sell any book on the table and the Bible commentaries sit there because nobody cares about the Bible anymore in our King James Bible-believing churches. And I'll tell you another thing with what's going on within the contemporary movement. That contemporary movement has inflicted our churches. I believe this. I believe the contemporary movement is the great falling away spoken of in the New Testament. And that has taken many good churches into a bad fold, but it's also instilled life in some churches that properly were dying. There's some old Methodist churches where the gospel hadn't been preached for 30 years. They're down to 8 people. Now they got 400, and they're all gone to hell because nobody started preaching the gospel when they got the contemporary movement. You say, yeah, preacher, but we didn't go to a contemporary church. We stayed in this one. And that's where the problem is. I watched this. Again, it almost happened in a 6-month period right after the contemporary movement came in. In our churches, people who did not go to the contemporary churches, they got this attitude. You know what it is? Hey, look, preacher, I know the contemporary movement's wrong, and I'm not going. I'm here, okay? So be satisfied. But I'm never wearing a tie again. I'm here, but I'm never dressing up. I've had it with dressing up for God. I've had it with doing anything special. You're just going to have to be happy. I didn't go there. You give me credit for what I did, but I'm not dressing up for God anymore. I watched the clothing of our churches change in a 6-month period. Good men who just quit dressing up. Ladies started looking like they were going to the basketball game. You can say anything you want about being a legalist. I will carry that. I will take legalist to my grave as opposed to liberal. All right. But what's happened, see, you think because I never joined a contemporary church, it didn't affect me. Oh, yes, it did. You know where it's affected our young people? I come into churches and these kids turn 18 and they walk right out and join a contemporary church where they can go to their kind of music and have all of their party and everything else. Now that's the 18-year-olds. The 18-year-olds are shifting in mass into a contemporary church because it's like a vortex. It sucks them in. But let me tell you where it's affecting our 30-somethings who have stayed. Our 30-somethings who have stayed, who I love that generation, I really do. But our 30-somethings who have stayed, they are closet contemporary disciples. And you know what they think? They think that your pastor, the 30-something, they think your pastor, okay, he's writing the King James Bible. Look, you got your doctrine right, preacher. But you just really need to reach out to get some of the seekers. And if he would just make me the pastor, there's something in that 30-something generation, and it transcends any group be it fundamentalist, Bible believer, whatever. I got this testimony from a 30-something staff member in a church that I was at in California about 2-3 months ago. There's about 4 young guys. And you know what this guy said? In my generation, you know what they all wanted to do? They all wanted to go out and start a church. This guy wanted to go out and start a church. Your pastor, you want to go out and start a church. My generation said, we're going to go someplace and start a church. You know what 30-somethings want? They don't want to start a church. Now, the real reason is they don't want the tough stuff. But they all think they could take over and do a better job with this one than he is. And you know how they do their better job? By putting a little bit of contemporary stuff that they got in. And so you have this closet contemporary things slipping into our churches, and I'm done.